BIONICLE, The Legend Reborn. Written by Greg Farshti. Recording by Tori. Epilogue. Weeks later. Motunui stood alone on a rocky peak, staring off into the desert. From far below came the sound of a Agori hard at work. But there was another noise mixed in, the sound of celebration. While the bone hunters were still active in the wastelands, the Skrull had vanished completely. Perhaps they had gone back north. No one could be sure. What mattered was that their threat had ended. Matus, too, had not been seen since the battle. The unspoken assumption was that he had fallen prey to a sandbat or some other desert predator. No one was shedding any tears over him. Akar climbed up to join Motunui. He had been busy these past few days, overseeing a massive project, the linking together of all the villages of Bara Magna into one mega-city. "Don't like parties?" he asked, smiling. "Agori from all over Bara Magna are pulling together literally, uniting all the villages, and we have you to thank for that." "No, I was only one piece," Motunui replied. "It took each of us to complete the whole. This celebration belongs to the Agori and you, the first leader of the new united villages." Motunui looked down. Using chains, spigot, and dune chariots, the Agori of Equinox, Vulcanus, and Tejun had dragged their massive shelters across the desert to link up with Tessara. Others had gone north and brought down the huge structure that dominated Roxtus. It had been a mammoth undertaking, and now it was almost finished. Kina, Gresh, and Barracks came up to join the two friends. "So what now, Motunui?" asked the Agori. "Continue searching for answers," Motunui replied, "wherever they may take me."
"Look," Kina said. "They've done it!"
With the final thunderous boom, the last shelter was fitted into place. When the sand and dust finally cleared, the group of heroes got their first look at the newly assembled structure. It was a sight that shocked them all.
"Whoa,"
said Barracks.
"Are you seeing what I'm seeing?"
Whatever they had expected, it had not been this. Only Motunui had even an inkling of what was to come, and he hadn't dared to hope. But there it was, for all to see. When the shelters were put together, they were revealed to not be just from random giant pieces of metal, but pieces of a mechanical being. Once assembled, the head, arms, torso, and legs could each be clearly seen, and the group around Motunui could all recall where they had seen such a thing before.
"The giant," said Akar, "from Kina's cavern in Tejun."
"How is this possible?" said Gresh.
"All this time we have been living inside pieces of a giant mechanical something?" "Wait," said Barracks, digging into his pouch. "I've got something. Hold on. Where is it? Here!"
He handed Motunui an old coin. Inscribed on one side was the figure of a mechanical being, the same figure that was on the wall of the Tejun cavern.
"I collected it from the cave a long time ago," said Barracks. "Forgot all about it until I saw that thing down there."
"The two images match," said Akar.
"Uh-huh,"
said Barracks.
"And wait till you see the other side."
Barracks flipped the coin over. On the other side was another design, this one matching the maze-like pattern of the Skrull shield Barracks still carried.
"The same symbol," said Kina.
"No, not a symbol," Motunui answered. "A map."
"To where?"
asked Gresh. "That is what I must find out," said Motunui, taking the coin from Barracks. "That is where my destiny is waiting. I know it."
"Don't you mean we must find out?" asked Kina. "Remember your promise to me."
Motunui gave a gentle smile. "You are welcome to join me, but I have no idea how long this journey might take, or the dangers that await.
Do you think that you and that giant are connected somehow?
Asked Akar. Motunui knew the answer, of course, but telling Akar that he had once inhabited the body of a 40 million foot tall robotic being, a larger version of the one down below, would start a conversation he did not feel like having right now. So all he said was, "Perhaps, but you are looking at an empty shell, the remains of what might have been a great ruler, the guardian of his people." He paused. It was difficult to get the words out, with so many new emotions swirling inside of him. When Motunui finally continued, he said, "Thanks to all of you, I am closer to becoming the warrior I must be if I am to reclaim my empire and free my people."
"This time, though, you won't need to face the fight alone," said Akar.
Motunui smiled. "Then, my friends, our quest begins." This would be the first of the adventures Motunui would have on Bara Magna. Accompanied by Kina, Gresh, Akar, and Barracks, he would journey north, past Roxtus, to the lands from which the Skrull had come. Barracks would add Chronicler to his list of hobbies, keeping a record of where they went and what they encountered. The revelation that a second robot body existed, no doubt a prototype of Motunui's own former shell, from some past era, opened a whole new array of mysteries. Had the great beings, Motunui's creators, actually lived on Bara Magna? And if so, were they here still? Was there a way to find the energy that would power that body, and could Motunui's mind inhabit it? And if that was possible, could he take the Agori's shelters away from them in that way, so soon after convincing them to create one great city from the pieces? There were many questions, and few answers, as the heroes began their journey north. Gresh could guide them a part of the way, as he knew the black spikes from an earlier journey. But beyond that, it was unexplored territory. The landscapes were wondrous and frightening. The enemies, including the shapeshifters that had plagued the Skrull, fierce and devastatingly destructive. And as always seemed to be the case, the solution of each mystery seemed to create a dozen more puzzles. Despite all of this, Motunui found he was at peace. Once, he had been the ruler of an entire universe, powerful beyond all measure, and yet, he had been alone. Now, though not as strong and the ruler of only his own heart, he had friends beside him. Long ago, he had tried to teach his people about the virtues of unity and duty, but had never truly understood them himself. His time on Bara Magna had taught him much, far more than he had ever taught the Matoran and Toa. His destiny still lay before him, even though there might be no chronicler to tell its tale. One day, he would return to do battle for his universe and his people. When that struggle came, he might well be fighting alone again. But he would carry into that challenge the memories of Akar's bravery, Kina's resourcefulness, Gresh's daring, and the courage of every Agori. He would fight, not only to make up for past failures, but to honor those who chose to stand beside him in his time of trial. It had been a long journey, and someday, others might think it had all been just a legend. But for those who had lived the tale, the heroes, the villains, the tragedies, and the triumphs would never be forgotten. End of Epilogue, and end of The Legend Reborn.